just can't believe it. I'm overwhelmed. If I could just take a minute, Commissioner Worstisill, Tom, great event. Love what you guys are doing. Alex, John, you guys are doing a fantastic job. And then I probably can speak for all the inductees. We haven't had a chance to really interact and co-mingle and everything, but man, some amazing stories from y'all and accomplishments and stuff. So I'll congratulate the inductees on behalf of all the inductees.
Coach, I love it. John mentioned that you have been a role model, to say the least, to so many in your home state. But I want to give a shout out to some of your role models growing up in Shelby, Montana. Mark Forrester, neighbor and student athlete that you kind of looked up to, your brother and your middle school coach.
Yeah.
How did they shape your love for the game, as well as, you know, just the town that you grew up in Shelby?
Yeah, I think when I got news of this, and we spoke earlier this week about where your mind goes, and mine just went back to being little, back to being a little kid again. And boy, it's been that kind of week. But the people, I think the game's been great to me, and I love the game, but it's the people that made a difference. I was fortunate enough to grow up west side of Great Falls. We lived in a mobile home, and there was the nicest outdoor basketball court across the street. And that happened at the same time that all the high school kids, Mark Forrester being one of them, I just spoke with him last summer. These kids were the sophomores, juniors, seniors at CMR and Great Falls High. And so in that neighborhood, what you wanted to do was like those role models. And I used to play with my own age kids, days before cell phones and the days before thinking you had to always play 5-on-5. I'd play with my age kids, and I'd hang around the court, and I would hope the older kids would show up. And then what I would really hope is that the older kids would show up and that they'd have an odd number so that I got to play. And that's what I want to do. I remember my brother taking me to the Tri-Optimus basketball contest. I don't know if it's still happening. I sure hope it is. But he drove me across town in Great Falls when I was 8 years old. I still have the trophy. And it was a second place trophy, but it didn't really matter. But you dribbled and you passed and you shot and you got this little trophy, and I took it back to our neighborhood on the west side of town, and I remember getting the affirmation that this might be the ticket. You know, I got high fives and everybody was really happy for me. And then blessed with a junior high coach, Gerald Littlejohn, who's no longer with us, a tough-minded coach that taught you how to take charges when you were in 7th and 8th grade. Not many coaches were doing that, and taught you the importance of playing aggressively. Tim Blaine was my high school coach at Shelby, Montana, a Class B school. And Coach rolled in the first year he arrived. He was 6'9", and he had played for the University of Montana, which was quite a blessing because you know, not many kids in small town Montana get to play for a former Division I athlete. So just a lot of things I think about the good fortune and the luck of being in the right place at the right time and having those types of people that believed in you, and I latched on to hoops.
You mentioned the people is really kind of the thing that you reminisce on and think about the most. Who are some of those people at your time at Montana when you became the all-time leading scorer and rebounder for the Grizz?
Yeah, it's a really long list, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but it's like when they say you always find out who your friends are when it's moving day and they show up. Our trainer, Dennis Murphy, shows up today. You know, and Dennis taped a lot of our ankles. He was part of the band of brothers. Got a number of teammates that I've stayed extremely close with. Derek Pope was my idol. He was a senior, I was a freshman. He wanted me to be his roommate, of all things, with this punk freshman kid. So we lived in Miller Hall together. And his mentorship made a great deal. My coaches, Mike Montgomery, Hall of Fame basketball coach, that was another stroke of good fortune, his head assistant, Stu Morrill, who was a terrific big man coach that we got in a number of fights just playing 3-on-3. And the teammates, just, it's crazy. A lot of the inductees I've heard that are involved with team sports, the Eastern Washington volleyball crew, you know, we have similar trips where we try to get together and share that. Nobody can ever take that away from you. And the other thing, the sidebar to that is, I had a lot of teammates that were willing to enjoy me having success. And we didn't have ego, and we didn't have people that didn't want to throw you the ball. We had a strong-minded coach that made sure the ball got to the right spots. But, you know, the willingness and the sacrifice that those guys made, and then comment that I always use in coaching, and I feel very strongly about it, is the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of each wolf is the pack. And I really feel that that's powerful in team sports, and that's something that I felt for all those years.
We have to wrap it up, Coach, but I do want to give you one last final moment. You've had such an incredible life journey and story that is so inspiring. What's your piece of advice to kids who have gone through a similar life path as you?
Yeah, well, I'm a big Ted Lasso fan. I could watch that show endlessly. I was looking at favorite quotes. You know, Tom, you broke out the math to start with. You know, do the math, and it's 0.000014. So you're saying there's a chance. I mean, that's what it is. You got to believe. I had a number of people, same that another inductee mentioned, where you get motivational talk, and then you have the naysayers. And everybody's different. You find your motivation, and just keep on believing, like Ted Lasso says.
I love it, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Alex.
So well deserved.
Thank
Give
you.
it up for Coach Larry Krystkowiak.
Thank you.
Thank you.